My name is Danny Forster, and this is Build It Bigger. I'm an architect, and I've spent years traveling the globe investigating incredible feats of architecture. And right now, I'm going to take you behind the scenes of one of the largest construction projects in all of Asia.
Singapore is reinventing itself.
This small island nation is attempting to finish one of the most audacious buildings on the planet.
It's the country's first casino, 3 skyscrapers,
Whoa.
covering 9 million square feet, and topped off by an engineering masterpiece, the first ever Sky Park. Longer than 3 football fields, with gardens, swimming pools, and restaurants, all higher than the Seattle Space Needle.
We're actually in the pool right now.
We're in the pool. This is the view from the pool.
Wow.
It's pretty spectacular.
That is amazing.
To finish it, crews must perform some of the highest and heaviest lifts ever attempted.
I mean, you're putting a piece of steelwork the size of an aircraft carrier on top of 3 towers.
Tackle one of the largest paint jobs on the planet.
You would never do this in America.
And erect one of the longest cantilevers in the world, 200 feet out over nothing.
Oh my God, that's enormous. I am in Singapore, a tiny island nation with less than 5 million residents. In fact, the entire country is smaller than all of New York City.
Located at the southern tip of the Malay Peninsula in Southeast Asia, the main island of Singapore is both a city and a country, one of the most densely populated in the world.
Culturally speaking, it's a somewhat strict and buttoned-up environment. Chewing gum, against the law. Insensitive behavior is punishable by fine. And if you're caught vandalizing a building, you quite literally get hit with a stick. But despite this conservative cultural backdrop, Singapore is attempting to reinvent its image by doing something totally surprising. They're going to open a massive casino.
With no natural resources of its own, Singapore is risking $5.5 billion in hopes of cashing in on the gambling boom exploding across Asia.
It's a pretty significant gamble because for Singapore, you've never had gaming before at this scale. You've never had a resort at this scale.
Yes.
You're taking a kind of a major leap
Yes, it's certainly a transformational project for Singapore.
where you hope to actually not just double, but triple.
The tourism receipts.
That's big.
The centerpiece of this giant transformation, the Marina Bay Sands. One of the biggest and most expensive casino complexes in the world. Unlike any hotel and casino ever built.
Rather than just being kind of a traditional hotel and casino that we might find in Vegas, instead, we have a museum, you have theaters, you have retail, you have a casino, massive convention center, 3 incredible hotels, and all of that capped by the first ever Sky Park.
That is absolutely right. The Sky Park on the very top will become the icon of Singapore, we think.
In a move that has never been done before, world-famous architect Moshe Safdie put a park across the top of 3 massive skyscrapers. An 1,100-foot-long urban oasis with tropical gardens and one of the longest swimming pools on Earth. All of it perched 55 stories above the ground.
So Brendan, how do you describe a Sky Park to people?
I mean, it's just a fantastic structure. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, there's 3 55-story towers, and you're putting a piece of steelwork the size of an aircraft carrier on top of it. So it's quite a feat.
And there's a park up there.
There is, well, there's more than that. There's observation decks and swimming pools and restaurants and all sorts of things. So it'll be a little city in itself.
The biggest challenge for builders, lifting 7,000 tons of steel, which is more than the main span of the Brooklyn Bridge, on top of 3 650-foot tall buildings. To get it up there, the team divided the structure into 14 large but more manageable segments. 6 form the bridges connecting the towers, and the other 8 make up the observation deck, which sticks out 218 feet from the end. And right now, crews are about to lift the second to last bridge segment, a massive 350-ton piece that will hang between towers 2 and 3.
It's a little after 7 p.m. and on most job sites, it'd be quitting time, right? Folks would be going home. But here in Singapore, we're about to begin one of the most critical lifts in the entire project. That bridge segment right there, an over 356-ton chunk of steel, is about to get lifted up over 650 feet in the air. I mean, you know, in principle, this sounds crazy, right?
Yes.
I mean, we're actually taking a bridge, lifting it up, and putting it on top of 2 skyscrapers.
Yes.
This has never been done.
Never done.
So, I mean, you got to be a little bit nervous to get this thing up.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. We have to get it right.
Lifting this piece will take some of the strongest hoisting cables ever designed.
Going up? All right, Solomon, up here?
Yep.
They get attached to the very top of the segment, 5 stories up.
All right. And now, at long last, I'm on the top of the whole bridge segment, and you really get a sense of its length, because look at that. It spans all the way out between 2 full towers over 150 feet long. And here, this is what it's all about. This is the shackle coming down over 600 feet up. And to really get that point, come here, check this out. Look at the amount of bound cables inside of this thing. Just the density. It's 2 of these shackles, one on this side, one on that side. We're gonna lift up over 350 tons of steel. All right, you call the man upstairs.
An operator from the top of the sky park lowers the shackle
There
down.
it comes, here it is, here it is.
Okay, another 60 mm.
It has to line up within 1/10 of an inch for this 150-pound anchor pin to fit through.
Oh no. Let's go. Push. Bite, come on, shake it a little bit. Hammer! Give it to me, Poppy.
Here.
Ready? Here I come.
Once the pins are pounded into place and the shackles are connected, there is one final step to make sure that the load is secure.
Woo!
Overnight, crews test the connections for 12 hours by hanging the segment just 4 inches above the support. If everything looks good, it is ready to go up.
Okay, Solomon, she's floating.
Yeah.
4 inches off the ground. Ready for the lift?
Yes.
How's the wind?
If you can see it, it is swinging. And if it swings, it might hit the building.
So when the lift begins, the concern is in a strong wind, like
Yep.
a pendulum,
Yes.
it could move and actually hit the building.
Yes.
It's that close to the building?
It is very close to the building.
Because of the curvature of the towers, this piece must pass within 10 feet of 2 glass skyscrapers on its way up. Any wind over 5 miles per hour is enough to call off the lift.
So are we good? Are we ready?
Good. So it's now okay to go.
Typically, crews would use tower cranes for heavy lifts, but this segment far exceeds their capacity. So instead, engineers are borrowing the technology from a different kind of construction, bridge building.
Even the most powerful tower crane can lift about 20 tons. This thing weighs over 360, not an option. So they went with something called a strand jack. And to understand how it works, imagine 2 hands or clamps holding a rope. One hand locks the rope, the other brings the rope up, grabs the rope, goes back for more, brings up more rope, and so on and so forth.
Strand jacks work on simple hydraulics. A bundle of 22 half-inch diameter cables passes through 2 clamps. The top clamp grips the strands and moves up almost 2 feet. Then the bottom clamp locks the cables in place while the top moves back down for the next pull-up. It takes 2 enormous strand jacks to lift this segment, one on each tower. Combined, they could lift the Statue of Liberty. It's the first time that this technology has been used to make lifts this heavy from the top of a skyscraper.
Tony? Danny.
Welcome, Danny.
Good to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Tony, where am I standing right now?
Well, you're on the Sky Park.
So this is kind of where the action is. This is where the pool is.
Yep. Right where we are now is the second swimming pool.
We're actually in the pool right now.
We're in the pool. This is the view from the pool.
Oh my God. people will be able to swim out to the edge of the pool.
Yep.
And literally, there'll be no edge, right? It'll be infinity edge.
It'll be an infinity edge looking out over Singapore.
Wow.
It's pretty spectacular.
That is amazing. And what's making all of this happen is this really just nasty looking beam.
That's right. So this enormous frame is supporting the strand sliding units.
Now, can we actually head up top to the strand jack?
Yeah, we can. Let's go this way.
The strand jack sits on a temporary support structure that extends 30 feet out from the side of the tower.
So Tony, where we're walking right now, we're actually leaving the skyscraper below us and now heading out.
We've just walked off the edge of the building. Beyond.
So we're now standing perched out. There's no more skyscraper below us right now.
There's no building below us.
It's awkward.
It takes almost 30,000 feet of cables to raise the segment, enough to cross the width of Manhattan. And if any of them get tangled, workers cannot lower the piece back down. So one of the most critical jobs on the site falls to the cable manning crew here at the highest point of the sky park.
Okay, so I am now standing at the very top of the strand jack. And you know that because right here, this is it. This is the top of the cables. And what we're about to do, every 30 strokes, they stop everything, clamp the lift, and spray some lubricant inside to make sure everything moves real freely. Unfortunately, I'm getting tasked with that role right now, so what do you got, some WD-40 we're doing this with? Look at this guy. Why is this the most low-tech thing in the world? Okay, so now what we've done is we've taken the collar off, we've lowered the jack down, now we've exposed the cables to give us good access for some good greasing. Okay, Romley, how do you grease it up?
Spray and pull out.
Put in, spray, pull out.
And pull out.
Go in, spray, pull out. You know, it's sort of humbling to have to climb up to this point, to have that behind you, to have to take a spray can like this, stick in, spray, pull out. Stick in, spray, pull out. Go in.
These guys have to grease these cables once every hour for the entire night to get this segment up the final 500 feet to the very top of the sky park. Coming up,
Hang on.
a one-of-a-kind solution to fight Singapore's intense sun
Whoa.
puts up a fight of its own.
You feel like I'm gonna pull you right outside of the basket.